The Switch has an odd history with Mario Party. Super Mario Party was born into a weird spot, bringing the series back from the hell of 9, 10, and the 3DS titles. But its grid-based boards and lack of content were a few of the things that really dragged it down for a lot of people. It brought in a number of new mechanics, such as allies or character dice. While none of them are quite so infamous as the car of 9 and 10, they are still certainly divisive. I still like a lot of that game, but it has more than its fair share of issues. Superstars came out years later, and was very positively received. A compilation of remade older content, or polished to the highest degree. A couple of N64 boards with great minigames from all over the series. It was amazing to have what finally felt like a true Mario Party on the system. But now Super Mario Party Jamboree is released. And not only is it the pinnacle of the Switch era, it rivals the absolute best of the series as a whole, and I want to talk about it. So we're going to begin with the Mario Party basics, then what sets this game apart from the rest. Finally, we will discuss the amount of content included and each of the modes. The core of Mario Party is the boards and the minigames, so let's start with the boards. This is what really decides if a Mario Party lives up to expectations or faceplants in my opinion. And I absolutely adore the maps in this game. There are 5 new boards, 4 of them available right from the start. Then you can unlock 3, 2 of those being remade from N64 games. Let's go through them one by one. So first we have Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, in which a Wiggler wanders around the center of the board. We've got Rainbow Galeria, a large mall with multiple floors. There's sales, stamps, and even a raffle. Goomba Lagoon is a set of small islands with a rising and falling tide. The large volcano can pour out golden Goombas or hot magma. Each player jumps back into a car for Roll'em Raceway, which is a long racetrack. There are numerous jumping pads, a switch, and multiple lanes to pick from. Then Mario's Rainbow Castle and Western Land are brought back from Mario Party 1 and 2, with a few little tweaks and changes to keep them fresh. And finally, King Bowser's Keep, a winding path in a molten cavern in which the large imposter Bowser continuously messes with all of the players. I found each of them really fun. Usually in Mario Party, there's at least one overly simple board that just doesn't feel worth playing. But even the simplest board here still has some interesting mechanics and lots of fun little discoveries to be found. The lowest difficulty board is Mega Wiggler's Tree Party. It's great. The moving Wiggler provides a shortcut through the center of the board and can be manipulated by certain spaces and a board-specific item. Then it can also become enraged and be a lot more dangerous to travel with, causing a fun risk-reward mechanic as the shorter distance may still be worth the danger. There is so much depth in even the easiest map of the game, and I find that carrying through each and every board available. Every board feels meaningfully distinct and unique. Another new mechanic which brings a lot of value is that each board has some items that can only be found there. The items usually manipulate board-specific mechanics, so it brings some fun variety to the game. And even if the mechanic is very simple, just the fact that you can control it somewhat offers so many fun opportunities. Whether figuring out a speedy path to the star or screwing someone else over just when they think they're winning. Another interesting example is Roll'em Raceway. The map has 2 predetermined locations for the star. The path splits into 2 lanes at the top, and the star alternates between each lane as it's bored. There is a reward for doing a full loop of the board in the form of coins, and that reward increases each and every time you do a loop. So you're incentivized to go around the board as fast as you can, both to get that reward and to beat the other players to the star before someone else moves it to the path you aren't on. In order to help with that, there are some new items. Instead of the usual mushroom, which adds 5 to your dice roll, there's a mushroom ticket, which is the same but can be used 2 to 4 times before disappearing. That little chance element can put you in a tough spot or bring you further than you thought possible. Almost every turn you're expected to at least use that item, making a normal dice roll feel sluggish. This board completely changes the speed of normal gameplay, making it a really refreshing experience. There's also a new dice item, the Turbo Dice, which allows you to roll 4 dice in a single turn. Seems a bit overpowered. Well, the catch is that you won't stop for anything along the way. No item shops, no boo, no star. It is an incredibly risky move that just might put you right in front of the star, or a few spaces past it, meaning you'll have to do a full loop again. Additionally, at the bottom of the map there are also 2 lanes. Taking the bottom path gives you the coin bonus I mentioned before, but going above will give you a different reward. It will fill all of your empty item slots with dice, recharging you with new equipment to speed along the track once more. All of what I'm describing is the essence of Mario Party. All of these micro decisions, forming strategies and doing the best with what you've got, especially when the game throws a wrench into your plans and you have to rethink everything. Just doing what you can within a limited and randomized system. It's present in each and every game in the series, and it's why I love it so much, but I believe it's strongest here in Jamboree. It's been so long since we've gotten a Mario Party with this level of design among its boards. Superstars was high quality, but a remake of the earliest boards in the series, and Super Mario Party was known for having some of the most blandest and simplest boards we've ever seen. The game is just so exciting to play and think about. It feels like a new step for the franchise as a whole. Now, we'll go over the minigames. I don't feel the need to spend a lot of time on this topic, because the minigames are almost always high quality. Even the worst Mario Party games are packed full of fun minigames, and this title's no different. There are 112 minigames here, making it the highest collection in the series so far. Many are grandfathered in from previous games, and many are new. Each time a game came on screen, I was delighted to consider the possibilities and just how it works. So many take full advantage of the mind games that go into a good minigame. Simple controls and objectives, but a surprisingly complicated depth to the little decisions you make. Of course, there are some more average ones, and even the occasional disappointment, but I think it might be my favourite collection overall out of the Mario Party games I've played. There are a couple of bigger minigames found in the standard game mode, namely the Jamboree Buddy minigames. This brings us to one of the biggest new mechanics, even having the game's namesake tied to them. Making further developments to the ally system from Super Mario Party, every now and then a character will drift onto the board and you have 3 turns to reach them. Upon someone passing them, a large minigame will decide who gets the ally. The minigames are tied to which character it is, each having their own little showdown. The games are really fun and always feel like a desperate struggle, being a lot longer than the average one. Whoever landed on the character gets a little bonus at the start that gives them some sort of advantage, but anyone can win and claim the Jamboree Buddy. Once someone's been awarded the ally, they get a few bonuses until the ally leaves in another 3 turns. Firstly, each buddy has unique skill. Rosalina gives you a random cheap item before you roll. Luigi makes it easier to roll high numbers. Wario gives you coins, etc, etc. Anytime you land on anything, it registers twice. 2 blue spaces, 2 lucky spaces, or even 2 Bowser spaces. And the biggest bonus of all, they allow you to buy a second star while they're with you. They provide a massive advantage. But there's a bit of a twist. If you pass someone who has a Jamboree buddy, you take that buddy and they become yours. There's a lot to consider here. A Jamboree buddy landing can really shake things up. I was delighted to find out just how useful they are, and how they add another ingredient to the Mario Party formula. It represents something I really appreciate from this game, which is, like I said before, finally moving forward again. Super Mario Party had so many mechanics I fell in love with, but with some lackluster board design and other poor choices, it made it feel like an awkward sidestep, not true progression. But seeing the good additions being retooled and brought back here, as well as new things, it makes me incredibly happy. It feels like the first time the series is really taking a step towards the future in the last decade. Now, while the standard Mario Party game mode is the main attraction here, there are a lot of other things to go over. This game is absolutely packed full of content and little things to discover. Let's go one by one. Minigame Bay is the standard mode where you can freely play whichever of the many games available you'd like. There are some cute little modes, endless variations of games if that applies, and even a daily challenge. There are some unlockable features too, like a boss rush, which is a nice touch. But overall, it really is nothing special, it's just a venue to play minigames. Then there's Motion Island, with 3 modes on it. First we have the Rhythm Kitchen. This is a continuation of the soundstage first introduced in Super Mario Party, another one of that game's better elements brought back and revamped here. You play through a set of rhythm minigames unique to this mode, each with a culinary theme. These are very simple, and there are only a few, but I have such a soft spot for this mode. It is quick fun, with a few different versions of the game that are unlockable. Most of the minigames are from the soundstage mode, but given a new coat of paint to fit the theme of a kitchen. I think this is the perfect little addition to give it a bit more of its own personality. Also, the food's really good. I always turn to this when I'm not in the mood for a full board, and it's the perfect little bite-sized experience. After that, we have Toad's Item Factory. These are small missions where you and your friends have to transport a ball to a pipe using motion controls. I played this with my partner and had an amazing time. It's only 10 levels, each consisting of 3 screens, so about like 30 in total. The first few are kind of overly simple, introducing mechanics one at a time before they get a bit more interesting. But once it hits its stride, it's delightful. The whole thing is beatable in like 1 hour, but I think it's worth replaying with different friends or even by yourself. It has a Snipperclips vibe. It's hard not to imagine the devs thinking of that game as they made this. It did have an odd little spotlight on it near the Switch's launch, and I think the inspiration does wonders here. It's an excellent use of motion controls. The games feel made with the limitations and janky motion in mind. This works because you don't have perfect control over what happens, and it uses that to both create challenge and humor. Finally, Koopa Troopa Flight School, which is easily the weirdest out of all three. Using one Joy-Con in each hand, your arms match up with the in-game wings you're given to fly around. Flap your arms to take to the sky, bend your body to glide and turn, exploring the open air. Within this minigame, there's a competitive mode and a cooperative mode, both using these controls in 2-player scenarios. It works fine enough, and again, like the last minigame, it takes the limitations into account. The imprecise controls are part of the point, rather than some frustrating problem. Still, I'm not too sure how many times I'm going to be coming back to this one. Certainly a lot more than Toad's Rec Room in Super Mario Party though. Far more in-depth and substantial than all of that game's side modes. Just feels like an odd inclusion all in all. Overall, I really like Motion Island. It doesn't stand to the same level as the normal Mario Party game mode, but it offers a fun assortment of small alternatives. Exactly what a side mode should do. I honestly feel it represents the Switch's relationship with motion controls in general. The Switch has been very supportive of motion controls, but in smaller, more tasteful ways. I'm a really big fan of it. Now we have the Bowser Challenges. This is dedicated to online modes, and to be fully honest, I didn't engage massively with them. I'm just not really one for online in general, and I don't have a good track record with connection problems and stuff like that on Switch. But I've tried both, and I liked what I saw. The first is the Koopathon, or however you're supposed to say it. It's a big race with up to 20 players. You play sets of minigames, and the coins you collect move you across the board. There are items and even big Bowser-themed 20-player minigames with further effects things. Apparently the mode is a revamp of the Coinathon from Mario Party Star Rush, but adjusted for the larger player size. I never played that game, so I can't tell what's new and what's changed here. It's a great way to adapt Mario Party to a bigger group, and offers a really unique experience. Just something I don't have a lot of interest in. I'm not its target demographic. And the next is the Bowser Kaboom Squad. You team up with 7 players on a little map littered with cannons. You grab bombs from around the map and load them up to shoot at Bowser. There are big co-op games which give you item rewards, making the battle easier. It's another odd mode, feeling a bit more experimental. Again, I'm not too sure how much this will stick in my mind, or if I'll ever go back and play it any more than I have. But I appreciate it so much more than almost every other side mode I've seen in previous Mario parties. It's weird, it's trying new things, it offers new experiences and more options online. It's really hard to complain about something like this, and I don't want to. While this doesn't appeal to me, I know friends who are excited to give this mode a try when they get the game. So now we come to the last additional mode in the game, the Party Planet Trek. This is the single player option within the game. Single player is one of those weird things in Mario Party. It's expected and good to have, but it's almost antithetical to the point of the game. You're never going to get much out of a single player mode. The entire game's design is built around multiplayer, so how do you craft a mode like this? Well, usually you're just given a long road of minigames that you play against CPUs, maybe with small challenges added. And for the most part, that's how this works too. But interestingly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the story is what makes it special. In Party Planner Trek, you explore the Mario Party boards as they're being built and set up. You walk around and talk to all the little characters and help them try to get everything ready for the party. It serves as a way to tutorialize the different boards, but in the most charming way possible. You find little items dropped around the place, you answer quizzes and play loosely related minigames. You get awarded mini-stars for each activity, you need 30 to progress, there's like about 50 in total for each board. Once you've collected 30, there's a little boss minigame as some creature seals all your hard-earned stars. Throughout the experience, you're also given decoration items, different designs, and items to hang around the main hub. Another very small but appreciated touch. By the end, my hub was covered in gold, it looked pretty cool. The entire thing is very simple and very short. It took me like 3 or 4 hours to 100% complete the entire thing. But it does its job. I couldn't help myself from loving each little line of dialogue I read. The whole thing is just so sweet and charming, it made the experience a joy to complete. So that's all the modes. There's a lot to do, the entire game is packed full of interesting and varied content. But now I'd like to briefly discuss your reward for engaging in all of that. When you finish playing anything, you get points to spend on certain things. Music tracks, reactions that you can spam during gameplay, cards and stickers to put on those cards. Honestly, most of it's pretty superfluous. I never really cared about it much. Some of the reactions are fun, but I usually just find like 1 or 2 I like and just use them over and over. You start with a very limited set of options to pick from, but here's where the last really special mechanic in this game comes into play. By doing all sorts of things, you get different achievements. There are achievements for basically every mode in the game. By getting those achievements, you slowly make your way up what's basically like a battle pass. Each section either increases the stock at one of the game shops, or gives you more points. But once you get enough, you rank up, and each rank up gives you new unlockables. This is how you unlock the new boards. You also unlock additions to modes, such as the boss rush in Minigame Bay. You even unlock Pro Rules, a unique rule set to standard Mario Party that makes the game a bit more official and skill-based. It's still Mario Party at its core, but it's like playing Smash Bros with no items on Final Destination. What I love so much about this edition is that it incentivizes you to try out all the different modes. It's worth giving everything a go, and it makes playing them even more exciting as you work towards your next reward. I am a big fan of unlockables in multiplayer games. Chasing achievements, trying the different modes, beating some tough high scores for minigames, it was all exhilarating knowing there was something waiting for me at the end. And that's what really tied the whole package together. Super Mario Party Jamboree is no perfect game. It is a simple, silly party game, but it is so well crafted and packed full of things to do. It is the epitome of the party genre, and the best Mario Party that I've played. If you like these games, I couldn't recommend it more. I think most people have had their minds made up about this game from the first moment they heard of its existence, so this video probably doesn't serve to influence the decision to buy it. But I hope you got something out of hearing my thoughts on just why it's so good and why I like it so much. So thank you for listening.